Welcome to the next episode, everybody. Take a look. I know it's been a minute since I've put out another video, but I wanted to show you some progress I've made. Basically, where we're at now, as we left off from the prior video, is we really need to work on the transom. And then, besides cleaning everything, you can see up front there, below the steering wheel, we also need to cut the rest of that old stringer out and then trim up the side so we can slide new flooring in place. The main thing I want to show you real quick here, because I just literally pulled this thing off. Take a look. We got a little bit of cracking right there and then also right here, and that's kind of where you can see where these were bolted in. Now, typically where it's clamping, if you start to see that cracking on the outer shell and the fiberglass, it's probably because the marine grade plywood that's inside here is completely trashed. Let's take a look. Let's come around here real fast and see what we have. Now, I know most people would say, hey, why don't you just trash this thing? Save us all some time. If you know anything with this channel and you've seen the others, meaning the other boats in this series, it's kind of what we specialize in, is taking old boats like this and redoing them and making them not necessarily like new, but basically where you can put these things back on the lake and have some fun versus spending a lot of money on a new one. So on that note, what we're going to probably do is take off these two right here, and then we're going to drill out these rivets all the way across and kind of see what's underneath here. I'm also going to clean up where we got this rust mark coming over. I do notice here where it's actually clamped, looks like it's in decent shape. It's not really cracked too much in this area, and I didn't really know what to expect here, but ultimately you can tell I don't think this thing has been removed in, well, probably since the boat was manufactured and everything was put together. Another thing you can see here, we've got leaking happening, and I do remember before I had removed this, the up and down wasn't working either. That side looks like it's not leaking, but this side is. I've got a video on my OMC Cobra in terms of rebuilding these, and I imagine they probably rebuild pretty similar. This one up here, probably do that one as well. So stay tuned for that video. You'll likely see me just do a video all on this rebuild, and since it's you know, the outboard is suspended up in the air like so, and I hope I did that too correctly. I mean, it had this gargantuan place to hook it, so I have seen some videos where they pull these up using that flywheel bolt, but I said, well, look at here, must be the right way. Put some comments in the comments field if I did that wrong. This is my first time pulling a stern drive off on one of these. And obviously you can see we've got a good amount of sludge in there. We'll need to look into rebuilding this a little bit. Not necessarily like the power head or anything along those lines, just basically reinstalling the carburetor. And you can tell here, steering, and we'll vacuum all that out. So anyway, we got a little bit of things, we got a few things here to get caught up on. Overall, I thought, I want to give you a quick update on where we stand with this. So we've got the stern, or not the stern drive, we got the outboard out. We're going to go ahead and drill these out. I'll probably end up using some fiberglass to fix that and seal it up. And then, like I said, we'll just go ahead and clean everything up. I'm also going to suit up here. Let me show you. Let's walk around the front here. And you probably saw this on the prior video. You can see I made some cuts here You can compare it across to the other side. Still need to remove this guy here. Now, as I left off, I am going to put a sheet of marine grade plywood and completely cover this. One of the things that I was debating as well is if you do happen to get water through one of these cup holders or in this area, you want to make sure it has the ability to drain. So I need to see if water can get down here, because the last thing I want to do is seal up this whole floor and then have water trapped in there. So I'm likely going to take a water hose here in a little bit and literally just put it right in there and see where it drains out. It may not drain out at all, but I have a feeling, looking down there, I believe, no, see, that's sealed down there. So that kind of makes me think that it may or may not. And I kind of want to keep that area in there because that's a easy place to put your chain. We've got little pieces here that are cracked, little cleats here. We're gonna fix up these spots here. This is just easy fiberglass work. Nothing too crazy. Done that multiple times. But you can see down here where these cup holders are. If water can drain in there, you don't wanna, like I said, create a mold sandwich. So we'll probably talk about that. So anyway, let's go ahead now, since we've mentioned it, is before we start adding water in there and making this a soupy mess, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my shop vac and I'm gonna start vacuuming all these old pine needles out. And you can see back here, there's a bunch of it. So I don't wanna create a bunch of water and mix with these pine needles. It just makes pulling it up a little bit more difficult. You can kind of see on that right side, that's kind of what we're trying to achieve compared to over on this side. You know, do I need to finish like completely demoing out both sides? I'm going to say yes, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring in one sheet of plywood all the way here if I can, and that's dependent on how that water situation is, or I may just block it up and then have it come across like that. So we'll kind of see. I do need to find out, you know, how this boat was sandwiched together. So you can kind of see where we are. Trailer looking good. Fresh tires. I believe we did a video on that. I try to roll the trailer around periodically, and you can see it's just been kind of sitting around. Tires are still fresh. Bearings are. So I don't think those tires even have a mile on them, surprisingly. So anyway, and there's the cover for the carburetor. Still got our 2-cycle oil. So anyway, let's go ahead. Let's get that shop back in here and clean this thing up. So what do you think? If it looks a lot cleaner than you just saw, that's because hours and hours and hours of work were put into this. Below the pine needles and leaves was a lot of dirt. And you can kind of see along the wall, I did chisel off some of the old foam. And there's still some back here, especially around there. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna pull that piece of metal where the transom bolts up to and start demoing out that wood as well. Let's take a look up front. You can see up here, there's a little bit of foam that we still need to remove. Vacuumed up here a little bit. I'm gonna go get some super clean and I'll show you why. You come up here, or I say come up here. If you go towards the stern, you can see, I guess, you know, that sludge we were talking about earlier is kind of like, just basically formed a whole lot of oily mess. I took the little cap off right there, you can see, to try to help during this cleaning process. So definitely gonna need to give it a little bath, and I'll let it dry overnight and then come back at it tomorrow. But yeah, let's treat this back area here with some super clean. We'll let it sit for a little bit to kind of break down a lot of that oil. All right, I have good news, maybe bad news, depending on how you look at it, but that is connected around here. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do there. Maybe close that up, or we're gonna have to make some sort of drain underneath the floor for when water gets in that upper bow section. You can see still got a little bit of foam. We'll clean that out, but this is basically the first bath that I've given the boat. You can tell, obviously, you know, when I say bath, it's not very, like, it's not perfectly clean, but the idea is to try to get, you know, a first level amount of waste and dirt and grime and all that stuff out the back. And we do this multiple times, even after we're grinding in here and taking pieces of the old fiberglass out, old wood. We give this thing baths multiple, just to keep it somewhat clean. So eventually when we start putting the fiberglass resin, it isn't like just dirt and grime caked on multiple other levels, or layers rather. So anyway, you can kind of see here the water's starting to bead out. There's a good amount that has kind of washed towards the back. And here's our super clean. I treated the back with it. We're gonna go ahead and put some more on it, because I could tell you what, that's probably, I wanna say 30 or 40 years worth of oil. So anyway, super clean to the rescue here. And obviously we need to hose it down a little bit more. You can see some of the dirt, it's just moved backwards. So anyway, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Stay tuned to the series. You can see I got the motor jacked up here, so we're moving this thing right along. We're gonna try to get this thing done as quick as we can. Well, that's it. So we're moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like this episode. More to come. Probably tomorrow we'll get in here with my suit and full face mask, and we'll start grinding a little bit in here and mostly work up front there. We'll probably produce a lot of fiberglass everywhere, so then we'll give it another bath. And then I think I'm going to come in here and chisel off some more of this foam. You can see it on this side as well. And we'll get this thing ready, prepped, and then kind of see what the floor is going to look like. I've got some ideas of what I want to do with the flooring. We're going to use 1/2" marine grade plywood. All in all, I'm excited. We'll get this thing moving along. Thanks for staying tuned to the series. All right, so hit that subscribe button. Hope you liked the video. Stay tuned to the next episode coming up pretty soon here. We got a lot more going on with this one. I tell you what, special shout out to Super Clean for sponsoring the video. Catch you on the next episode, everybody. Take it easy.